At noon, a Thomas County woman sentenced to life in prison for killing her husband.
The case of Rosemarie Reilly is one that has shocked both the local Massachusetts community and the wider public due to its chilling details and calculated nature. Rosemarie, a woman who was once seen as a devoted wife, was found guilty of murdering her husband, Brian Reilly, by poisoning him with antifreeze. This method of murder, often associated with premeditation and deception, led to a slow and agonizing death for Brian, raising questions about the true nature of their marriage and what could have driven Rosemarie to commit such a horrific act. The case unfolded over a period of time, with investigators and forensic experts working tirelessly to piece together the evidence that ultimately led to her conviction. The purpose of this video is to take a deep dive into this disturbing case, analyzing the key events that led to Brian's death, the investigation that followed, and the courtroom battle that resulted in Rosemarie's conviction. We will explore the forensic evidence that played a crucial role in solving the case, the prosecution's argument against her, and how the justice system handled such a complex and tragic crime. Additionally, this case sheds light on the broader issue of poisoning crimes in domestic relationships, an often overlooked method of murder that can be difficult to detect. By examining this case, we aim to bring awareness to the warning signs of domestic danger, the importance of forensic science in criminal investigations, and the legal consequences of such premeditated acts. This video is not just about recounting a true crime story, it is about understanding the implications of such cases and encouraging discussions on how to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Stay tuned as we break down the details of this case, revealing how a seemingly ordinary marriage took a dark and deadly turn. Brian Reilly was known by friends, family, and colleagues as a hardworking and kind-hearted man. He lived a relatively quiet life in Massachusetts and was well respected within his community. Those who knew him described him as friendly and dedicated, both in his personal and professional life. Brian had been married to Rosemarie Reilly for several years, and while their marriage appeared stable from the outside, there were underlying tensions that would later come to light during the investigation into his death. Brian and Rosemarie's relationship was, at one point, like any other marriage, full of shared experiences and commitments. However, over time, their dynamic began to shift. Reports suggest that the couple faced significant marital struggles, including financial difficulties and personal conflicts that strained their relationship. Rosemarie, who had once been seen as a loving wife, reportedly began to distance herself from Brian, and their home, which should have been a place of comfort, became a breeding ground for resentment. It is believed that the marriage had reached a breaking point in the months leading up to Brian's death. While no one outside their home knew the full extent of their struggles, investigators later uncovered that Rosemarie had been planning his murder for some time. Poisoning is a crime that requires patience and calculation, suggesting that Rosemarie may have made a conscious decision to eliminate her husband rather than seek a separation or divorce. The case of Brian Reilly's murder is a grim reminder that not all marital conflicts result in separation. Some, tragically, turn deadly. The unraveling of their relationship played a critical role in understanding Rosemarie's motive, and as the case unfolded, it became clear that their marriage had been far more fractured than anyone had realized. The method of poisoning that Rosemarie Reilly used to kill her husband, Brian Reilly, was both slow and insidious. Instead of an impulsive act of violence, she allegedly carried out a calculated plan to end his life using antifreeze, a toxic substance known for its ability to cause fatal poisoning when ingested. Investigators believe that Rosemarie began slipping small amounts of antifreeze into Brian's food or drink over time, ensuring that the poison accumulated in his system gradually. Ethylene glycol, the active ingredient in antifreeze, has a sweet taste, making it difficult to detect when mixed into beverages like juice or alcohol. This slow poisoning method allowed Rosemarie to mask her crime, as Brian's health declined progressively rather than all at once, making it appear as though he was suffering from a mysterious illness. At first, Brian did not realize that he was being poisoned. He began experiencing symptoms that initially seemed like flu-like discomfort, fatigue, nausea, and dizziness. However, as days passed, his condition worsened. Antifreeze poisoning leads to severe kidney damage, neurological impairment, and eventually, organ failure. Brian reportedly complained of increasing pain and confusion, Classic signs of poisoning, yet no one suspected the true cause. It wasn't until Brian's symptoms became critical that he was taken to the hospital, but by then, it was too late. He succumbed to the effects of the poisoning, and initially, his death did not raise immediate suspicion. However, toxicology reports revealed the presence of ethylene glycol in his system, prompting investigators to take a closer look at the circumstances surrounding his death. As law enforcement delved into the case, inconsistencies in Rosemarie's statements and unusual behaviors pointed to her involvement. Her lack of distress and unusual explanations for Brian's sudden decline led authorities to question whether this was truly a natural death or something far more sinister. Soon, the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, unraveling a shocking case of premeditated murder. The investigation into Brian Reilly's death took a crucial turn when forensic experts conducted an autopsy and toxicology analysis. Though his initial symptoms had been mistaken for a natural illness, the toxicology report revealed the presence of ethylene glycol in his system, a clear indication of antifreeze poisoning. This discovery immediately raised red flags for investigators, as ethylene glycol is a deadly substance when ingested, often linked to intentional poisoning rather than accidental exposure. With this new information, law enforcement intensified their scrutiny of Brian's death, looking deeper into the circumstances surrounding his illness and eventual passing. Detectives began gathering evidence, searching Brian and Rosemarie's home for anything that could confirm their suspicions. During the search, they uncovered incriminating physical evidence, including an opened bottle of antifreeze stored in an unusual location and items in the kitchen that suggested it may have been mixed into food or beverages. Further investigation revealed a damning trail of digital evidence. A forensic examination of Rosemarie's electronic devices exposed suspicious internet searches related to antifreeze poisoning, including phrases like, "How much antifreeze is lethal to humans?" and "symptoms of antifreeze poisoning." Investigators also found searches about whether antifreeze can be detected in an autopsy, suggesting that Rosemarie had attempted to cover her tracks. Additionally, when questioned by authorities, Rosemarie's statements contained inconsistencies. Initially, she expressed shock and sadness over Brian's illness, but her accounts of events leading up to his death changed each time she was interviewed. Investigators also noted that she had not shown the level of distress typically expected from a grieving spouse, which further fueled their suspicions. With mounting evidence against her, law enforcement officials moved quickly. Rosemarie Reilly was taken into custody and officially charged with first-degree murder. The arrest marked a pivotal moment in the case, shifting it from a mysterious death to a premeditated homicide. As she was escorted from her home in handcuffs, the reality of her alleged crime became clear, a carefully planned act of betrayal that had taken the life of the man she had once vowed to love and protect. The trial of Rosemarie Reilly was a gripping legal battle that captured public attention, as prosecutors presented a chilling case of premeditated murder. The prosecution relied heavily on forensic science to establish Rosemarie's guilt. Toxicology reports confirming the presence of ethylene glycol in Brian's system were among the most damning pieces of evidence. Expert witnesses explained how antifreeze poisoning causes slow, painful organ failure, mirroring the symptoms Brian had exhibited before his death. Investigators also testified about the search history found on Rosemarie's devices, which included explicit queries about antifreeze toxicity, its effects on the human body, and whether it could be detected in an autopsy. Additionally, the physical evidence discovered at the couple's home played a crucial role. The prosecution presented the partially used bottle of antifreeze found in the kitchen, along with food and drink containers that tested positive for traces of the toxic substance. Witnesses, including close friends and neighbors, recounted instances of Brian expressing concerns about his health, with some even recalling his suspicions that someone might be poisoning him. The prosecution argued that Rosemarie had methodically planned Brian's murder, administering small, undetectable doses of antifreeze over time to make his illness appear natural. They portrayed her as a calculated and deceitful woman who saw poisoning as a way to rid herself of Brian rather than pursuing a divorce or separation. The defense team, however, sought to create reasonable doubt. They contended that Brian's death could have been caused by accidental ingestion, suggesting that he may have unknowingly consumed antifreeze due to improper storage in the home. They also challenged the prosecution's timeline, questioning whether Rosemarie had exclusive access to Brian's food and drink during his illness. Additionally, her attorneys attempted to discredit the digital evidence, arguing that mere internet searches did not prove intent to kill. After deliberating for several hours, the jury returned with a verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. The weight of the forensic evidence, combined with Rosemarie's suspicious online activity and shifting statements, left little room for doubt. During sentencing, the judge condemned Rosemarie's actions as cold and calculated, highlighting the betrayal of trust in her marriage. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, ensuring that she would never be free again. As the verdict was read, Rosemarie remained emotionless, her lack of visible remorse further solidifying the court's decision. With the trial concluded, justice had been served for Brian Reilly, but the case left lingering questions about the motives behind such a cruel act and the dangers of toxic relationships that escalate into deadly violence.
At noon, a Thomas County woman sentenced to life in prison for killing her husband. Thomas County Sheriff Tim Watkins tells us Tori Frederick was found guilty this morning of murder and aggravated assault. This following her husband Philip's death in 2021. An autopsy for him revealed a chemical in his system that's commonly found in antifreeze or brake fluid.
The conviction of Rosemarie Reilly brought a mix of relief and sorrow for Brian Reilly's family and loved ones. While they expressed gratitude that justice had been served, the pain of losing Brian in such a cruel and calculated manner remained unbearable. Brian's siblings and close friends described him as a loving and hardworking individual who did not deserve such a fate. In a statement following the verdict, one of his family members said, "Brian was a kind and generous person who always put others before himself. Knowing that someone he trusted betrayed him in such a horrific way is something we will never fully heal from." His children, devastated by the loss of their father, emphasized the deep void left in their lives. One of them stated in court, "Not only did we lose our dad, but we lost him in a way that is beyond comprehension. No punishment can bring him back, but at least we know that the person responsible will never hurt anyone else." Many of Brian's relatives also expressed outrage over the method of murder, describing it as a slow and agonizing death. They hoped that the case would raise awareness about domestic violence and toxic relationships that can escalate into lethal situations. The public response to the case was a mix of shock, fascination, and debate. The media closely followed the trial, with true crime enthusiasts and legal analysts dissecting every detail. Many were horrified by the premeditated nature of the crime, particularly the use of antifreeze poisoning, which has been associated with similar high-profile murder cases in the past. Local community members expressed disbelief that such an act could be committed by someone who had once shared a life with the victim. The case sparked conversations about early warning signs of abusive relationships and the importance of recognizing red flags before situations turn deadly. The case also ignited debates about women as perpetrators of domestic violence, challenging the traditional narrative that men are more often the aggressors. Some discussions centered on whether enough had been done to support Brian before his death, while others questioned how society could better protect individuals in troubled marriages before it's too late. In the wake of the trial, domestic violence awareness groups used Brian's case to stress the importance of seeking help in toxic relationships. Support networks emphasized the need for stronger intervention measures to prevent similar tragedies. While the legal chapter of the case had closed, the emotional impact on Brian's loved ones and the broader community would be felt for years to come. Poisoning as a method of murder is particularly insidious because it often goes undetected for extended periods. Unlike more overt violent crimes, poisoning can mimic natural illness, making it difficult for doctors and even family members to suspect foul play. Many victims suffer slow and agonizing declines in health, with symptoms that can be mistaken for common medical conditions such as kidney failure, flu-like infections, or food poisoning. In cases like Brian Reilly's, the use of ethylene glycol, a toxic substance found in antifreeze, is especially alarming because it is colorless, odorless, and has a sweet taste, making it easy to mix into drinks or food without detection. Without timely medical intervention, ethylene glycol poisoning leads to organ failure, seizures, and ultimately death. Fortunately, forensic science has made significant advancements in detecting poisoning crimes. Toxicology reports, advanced chemical analysis, and hair sample testing can reveal traces of poisons in the bloodstream even weeks or months after death. In recent years, investigators have also begun leveraging digital footprints, including internet searches and purchase histories, to uncover premeditated poisoning attempts. In Rosemarie Reilly's case, investigators reportedly found search histories related to antifreeze poisoning, a key piece of evidence that led to her conviction. However, despite these advancements, poisoning remains a preferred method among individuals who wish to commit murder without drawing immediate suspicion. The case of Brian Reilly underscores the need for increased vigilance when unexplained illnesses occur, especially within troubled relationships. While most domestic disputes do not escalate to murder, many homicide cases involving intimate partners show warning signs long before tragedy strikes. Understanding these red flags can help potential victims and their loved ones seek intervention before it's too late. Some common warning signs of an abusive or toxic relationship include isolation. The victim is gradually cut off from friends and family. Unpredictable mood swings. The partner exhibits extreme shifts between affection and aggression. Financial control. The abuser limits the victim's access to money or employment opportunities. Manipulation and gaslighting. The abuser constantly dismisses or invalidates the victim's concerns, making them doubt their own reality. History of verbal or physical abuse. Escalating arguments that involve intimidation, threats, or past instances of physical harm. Unexplained health decline. If a person in a troubled relationship suddenly experiences chronic illness without a clear medical cause, poisoning should not be ruled out. Cases like Brian Reilly's serve as a tragic reminder that domestic violence does not always manifest in obvious physical harm. In some cases, a partner's intent to harm may be slow, calculated, and methodical, as seen in poisoning murders. Experts stress the importance of early intervention, whether through counseling, law enforcement involvement, or safe exit strategies for individuals in dangerous relationships. Raising awareness about the hidden dangers of domestic abuse and educating the public on warning signs can help prevent future tragedies. By discussing cases like this, we not only seek justice for victims like Brian Reilly but also empower individuals to recognize and respond to warning signs before it's too late. The case of Brian Reilly's tragic poisoning and Rosemarie Reilly's conviction serves as a chilling example of how domestic conflicts can escalate into premeditated and calculated crimes. What initially appeared to be an unexplained illness was later uncovered to be a deliberate act of poisoning, thanks to forensic advancements and persistent investigative work. Throughout this case, several key points stand out. Brian's health declined mysteriously over time, raising suspicion only after it was too late. The toxicology reports and forensic analysis confirmed ethylene glycol poisoning, leading investigators to uncover crucial evidence, including Rosemarie's internet searches. Her subsequent arrest, trial, and conviction underscore the critical role of forensic science in bringing hidden crimes to light. Beyond this individual case, the story raises broader questions about domestic violence, toxic relationships, and the dangers of slow, undetected crimes like poisoning. It is a reminder that not all forms of domestic abuse leave visible scars, and sometimes, the most dangerous situations are those that go unnoticed until it's too late. This case highlights the importance of awareness, vigilance, and forensic science in solving and preventing such crimes. It's crucial for people to recognize early warning signs of abusive or manipulative relationships and to take action when they suspect something is wrong. We encourage viewers to stay informed about domestic violence cases and understand the hidden dangers in toxic relationships. Share their thoughts on this case. Do you think justice was served? Could this crime have been prevented? Raise awareness about the importance of forensic investigations and how science continues to play a major role in solving cold and complex cases. If you found this case intriguing and want to see more in-depth true crime content, Subscribe to the channel for more investigations into shocking criminal cases. Like, comment, and share this video to spread awareness and help bring attention to the broader issues surrounding domestic violence and forensic science. Justice for Brian Reilly may have come years later, but his story serves as an important lesson in seeking truth, recognizing danger, and ensuring that no crime goes unnoticed. This case of Brian Reilly's tragic poisoning and the conviction of Rosemarie Reilly raises many important questions about crime, justice, and the dangers of silent, undetected methods of harm. Now, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you believe that poisoning crimes should carry harsher penalties, considering how difficult they are to detect and how much suffering they can cause? Should legal systems implement stricter measures for investigating unexplained illnesses in domestic situations? Let us know in the comments below. We value your opinions and insights on these critical issues. If you find true crime cases like this intriguing and want to stay updated on the latest legal developments, forensic breakthroughs, and shocking crime stories, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We dive deep into real-life mysteries, high-profile trials, and the psychology behind criminal behavior. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Raising awareness is key to preventing future tragedies like Brian Reilly's case. Many people remain unaware of the signs of toxic relationships or the hidden dangers of poisoning. By sharing this video, you help spread crucial knowledge, spark important conversations, and ensure that more people understand the risks and warning signs of such crimes. Share this video with your friends, family, and on social media to keep the discussion going. Thank you for watching, and remember, justice begins with awareness.